Where's that bird? There he is. And we're back with many more bite marks than when we started. Frickin' mosquitoes today are ungodly. I've been bit 15 times if I've been bit once. It rained yesterday and they all came out today very, very hungry. We had a monsoon yesterday actually. I'm not excited, I'm just itchy. Yeah, this is the view you get every day here in Hong Kong. If you were watching our earlier scope, we actually flew over this with the drone. So if you haven't checked out my previous scope, you can also check it out on YouTube, Penguin 6. You're in Hong Kong in the People's Republic of China on Lugard Road, L-U-G-A-R-D Road. Making our way around as we do every morning. Monsoon is a massive rainstorm. We had about 2 inches of rain an hour. 2 inches of rain per hour yesterday. Caused some flooding over in the mountains over there. Heck, even in the city. There you can see all the ferries on their way to Macau. Hey, Florida. Hong Kong, Tokyo, or Seoul, why don't you go to all 3? I mean, seriously. Why don't you go to all 3? Yeah, I did that with Jonathan and John. You're going to come to Asia, you're going to take a week to adjust to the jet lag, so you might as well stay for 2 weeks. Spend a few days in Hong Kong, maybe 5 days in Hong Kong, 5 days in Seoul, 5 days in Tokyo. Yeah, that's a 2-week trip. But I assure you, the jet lag is a big deal. The helicopter is, I don't hear it right now. Hey, well, alias Lucas to Periscope, and welcome to Hong Kong, where you are high above the city on Lugard Road, Victoria's Peak. This is my morning walk, which I do every single day. Today we were out with the drone earlier, so if you look at my earlier broadcast, you'll see the drone flying over these buildings. I've lived here 7 years. I have a wife and 2 kids. This is my home, though I'm from the United States. Yeah, I gotta put some more YouTubes up. I haven't really had many YouTubes this week because I've been dealing with 2 sick children. My kids have been sick home from school all week. The Spark is interesting, but I really would have liked 4K and maybe the 3-axis gimbal. The hand gestures are cool. I'll see if the hand gestures come over to the Mavic. The thing about the drone is it's not, I mean, it's easy, yeah, but it's still a minute or 2 between wanting to take a photo and being able to take a photo. You got to unpack the drone, you got to connect, you got to do some update stuff, you got to make sure everything's ready, then you can launch. I'm from China. I live in China. You want to interview me? Welcome to China. I live here. Lots of sirens right now. Must be a fire. Rarely many sirens unless it's a fire. Yeah, it's kind of pretty. If you took a look at the drone video this morning, it was quite pretty. Hey, Boris. Welcome to Hong Kong, Lugard Road. We're on Victoria's Peak. And you're joining me for my morning walk. This is something I do every single day, more or less. But the kids were sick the last couple of days, so I was home. I didn't get to make my video blog. That's on YouTube, Penguin 6. But there is a video blog being edited and will go up probably before lunch today, before midnight your time. So if you're following me on YouTube, I've been here 7 years. This is my home. What, you want to go higher? Okay, let's go higher. There's another viewpoint. We can go a little bit higher. Oh, it's covered with mosquito bites today. It is a nice morning view. It makes my walk a little easier. I do this hike every morning. It's about 10,000 steps. And this is half of my daily exercise. Yeah, 7 years. Means I'm a permanent resident. I have a green card. Well, I'm applying for my green card now, so I can stay here as long as I want. So can the children. Yeah, it's about a 4-mile hike in the morning, 4 or 5 miles, depending on if I go up the hill. I do about 10 miles a day, 9 to 10 miles a day. It's about 16 kilometers or so. Every day. Hey D-Stoof, welcome to Periscope, welcome to Hong Kong. What made you decide to live here? Love. What makes you decide to do anything? Love. My morning walk is about 90 minutes. Then I walk another hour or so during the day. I met a girl, fell in love, married her, followed her to Hong Kong. So, story of anybody's life. Periscope sucks, then why are you using it? You have an MBA degree. Well, get a job before you come. Get someone to sponsor you to come here. Get an American or European company or Canadian company to sponsor you. Taste. It's a lot of food. Safety, the desire to be safe. This is one of the safest cities in the world. It has a very, very low violent crime rate. So, hey, Naples. We're actually on the same latitude as Cozumel, Mexico, and Havana, Cuba. So, if you're in Florida, you're kind of familiar with the weather we have. Hong Kong is banking, 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 and banking. You can look at jobsdb.com, jobsdb.com, or indeed.hk, indeed.hk. Those are job sites for Hong Kong. My wife is from China. She's not actually from Hong Kong. Hong Kong is kind of a foreign culture to her. It gets down, it's usually in the 50s Fahrenheit in the winter, but only for about a month or two. Ah, another mosquito. Bastards. They're everywhere today. I should have sprayed myself. I'm spraying myself tomorrow if I come back up there. Frickin' bugs everywhere. I'm quite tasty to the mosquitoes. I think they've had enough Chinese food and they're like, hey, there's an American. Let's get some American blood. And the mosquitoes just come after me like a bat out of hell. It is very expensive to live here if you want to live in the same kind of housing you have back in the West. Never gets that cold in Havana. Oh, okay. Our winds are a little bit different. We bring cold winds come down from China and bring some cooler temperatures. Trump doesn't need anyone. So we'll get another view here in a minute. Ah, these mosquitoes. So we'll have another view of the city in about 5 seconds. We'll get around this tree. And there's another tree. Oh well, how old are you? My half plus 7 rule is 32. Ooh, actually, that's just changed. I'm 5'9", about 158 pounds. I want to be 155 pounds. I don't know what that is in kilos. 3 months ago, wow. You can come back. We're still here. Hong Kong is still here. Zoom in on the Chinese girls. Dude, I don't have a zoom that powerful. We can try. Nope, didn't work. Sorry. Ah, mosquitoes. Ah, spiderweb. Ah, spiderweb. Made all the more freaky because I watched Harry Potter. He stayed at the Ritz. Yeah, it's right down there. I'm going to America for vacation. So I'm going for a 6-week vacation in the United States. I'm going to drive from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. So you guys can watch if you want. We'll be periscoping the whole trip across America. That starts probably July 1st. So sometime the beginning of July till sometime mid-July, we're going to drive across America. Myself, my 2 kids. My wife will eventually join me. Going to go through Nebraska. Then we're going to go down to Kansas City, cut across Missouri, St. Louis, up to see my dad, then Notre Dame. I'm from Washington, D.C., but I grew up in Illinois, hence the Midwestern / serial killer accent. You know, we sound like everybody else. So guys, we've got about 7 or 8 minutes of jungle now because the buildings are behind the trees. I will definitely be YouTubing and periscoping my cross-country adventures. Probably have my daily video blog going on our road trip across America. And we're going to go about 5,000 miles. So from San Francisco to Yosemite to Vegas to the Grand Canyon, up to Salt Lake City, Promontory Point, Utah, Yellowstone, the Battle of Little Bighorn, Rapid City, Mount Rushmore wall drugs. Then we're going to go over to Carhenge, Nebraska. Then cut down into St. Louis, no, into Kansas City, then over to St. Louis, through Illinois, up to Notre Dame, cross into Canada, pick up Niagara Falls, then down through upstate New York, Pennsylvania, and to my home. I hire 50-year-old people here. Well, it depends what you got, what sort of talent you have as a 50-year-old. In fact, bugs. Quite a few people come over here in their 40s and 50s. That's about the time they're being groomed for upper management in their companies. So middle managers are often brought in to, hey, Euromaestro's here, guy. Euromaestro's a scoper from Paris. If you want to see what's happening in Paris, you can follow Euromaestro. Sales manager. Well, it depends what you're selling. But most of the retail is Chinese based. Though selling the big stuff like houses or cars or stuff like that. It is a lovely walk. That was a street sweeper. He makes about $4 US an hour. Works every single day. And I bet he's getting savaged by mosquitoes too, because I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. The monkeys are actually, there's another mountain on the other side called Monkey Hill. And there are about 3,000 rhesus monkeys. They're invasive species. Nobody's not sure exactly where they came from. They're not native to Hong Kong, but they've landed and invaded, basically taken over there. There are these rhesus monkeys. I don't get over there that often to scope the monkeys. Jonathan J.K. occasionally has them when he goes up in the mountains. Cam used to scope them when he would go up onto Monkey Hill. But they were pretty crazy. I can't believe. Yeah, we have a lot of invasives. We have sulfur-crested cockatoos, or another invasive species here. They were part of a private collection owned by the British governor, and when the Japanese invaded Hong Kong in 1941, he just released the birds into the wild to save them from the Japanese dinner plate. And now we have cockatoos that fly all over here. Apparently they're worth a hell of a lot of money in the U.S. I've been told it's worth like $1,000, these birds. It's like, dang. See you later. So you can see all the mud on this path. This is from the flooding yesterday. We had massive rain yesterday, 2 inches an hour. That's 50 millimeters an hour of rain. We had what was called a black rain. Big signs at Niagara Falls. Oh, okay. We went out yesterday during the black rain because we wanted a hamburger. My son, who was, quote, sick from school, decided he wanted a hamburger and milkshake, even though he was, quote, sick from school. So we drove out in the black rain, parked our car. We had a real battle parking the car. Oh, yeah, like 30 minutes in the garage. But then we got out and walked over. The rain had passed by, and we walked to the Burger Circus. And we had pretty good burgers yesterday. I had fries, he had onion rings. I had water, he had a milkshake. He's back in school today. He's been eating nothing but soup and rice for the last 4 days. And yesterday he was pretty healthy. He still had a cough, but he needed more food, so I decided to feed him stuff he likes. So we had a really good burger. No, not McDonald's, a place called Burger Circus. It's an American-style diner here. You'll see it on my YouTube channel later today, Penguin6 on YouTube, because I'll be putting it up my video blog this afternoon. So today is Thursday, yeah. Thursday, and I need to get a suit made. Yeah. So I'm going to a graduation. My niece is graduating med school in Palo Alto, so I gotta get a suit. Now Palo Alto's pretty hot, and I think the graduation's outdoors, so most of my suits are pretty warm. So I'm thinking of getting a suit tailored here in Hong Kong, but we'll see. I have a suit, but because I lost so much weight, this suit just doesn't fit. I should really get it tailored down to fit. Palo Alto, California. Yeah, she graduates on the 17th. And then she'll be known as Doctor. I have to call my niece Doctor. What other news can I tell you? Oh, a classmate of mine from law school just got nominated to the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals. That's pretty cool. How much will it cost to make a suit? Depends where I go. It can cost anywhere between $300 US to, well, $5,000 US. I probably wouldn't spend less than $600 or $700 US on a suit, though, if it's done right. I mean, that's like the minimum. What's a Brooks Brothers suit cost now? Like $1,000? Last time I bought a Brooks Brothers was about 10 years ago. It was about $800. Yeah, I don't even know what the 7th is. Hey, Puerto Rico. Probably pretty similar weather here in Puerto Rico. Oh, I love this part of the path. It's so pretty. Let me just get my other camera out to film this for a moment. God, these mosquitoes were annoying. There we go. Hey, Gig Harbor. I don't know. We just saw some Death Star troopers walking there with a big black face mask. At least that's what it looked like. I just stepped in something squishy. I'm hoping it was mud. I'm telling myself it's mud. No, that one. Okie dokie. People mostly have headsets. Sometimes we greet people. Most people have headsets. They're just kind of on their own world. I just let them be. A lot of the tourists don't speak English. So, I don't know if it's that windy. No reason to go back. Now, this girl I saw earlier with a dog, she was a reason to go back. So, guys, we're going to have the view in about 15 seconds, I think. Depends if the trees are growing too high. This is where I get the tram. So the Peak tram comes up here. Nice legs. Yeah, there's a lot of nice legs here. I was remarking the other day how many people wear pencil skirts here. And then some of you more fashion-conscious people were like, well, the only people who can wear pencil skirts are thin, tall people. It's like, oh, well, here we go, tram. So those skinny, tight little pencil skirts are very popular in Hong Kong. Malaria isn't that common here. We do occasionally get a dengue fever or encephalitis warning, but very rarely do we have local dengue fever. We don't have malaria problems to speak of. Now, in the Philippines they do, which isn't that far from here. Oops. I hope to God, because I just got bit by like 10 mosquitoes today. It is, that's the thing about Hong Kong, is everybody walks. 7.5 million, 7.3 million people, but only 500,000 private cars. It means everybody's got to take public transportation or just walk. It has a knock-on effect, though. Some of the benefits are interesting. Because there are more people walking, there are more things geared towards walkers, such as shops and restaurants and things like that are on the street. As a result of that, more people are inclined to go out, go shopping, go to the restaurants, like buy locally, eat out. And because there's more people on the street, there's a reduction in crime. More people on the street means more witnesses, means less opportunities for bad guys to be bad. And it's sort of this wild, interesting knock-on effect. Amazon.com doesn't work here, really. There's no real big e-commerce site that dominates the market like Amazon. I mean, there are Chinese ones like Taobao, but by and large, people still go to retail brick-and-mortar stores to buy things because it's not that far of a walk. Why buy something on Taobao that takes 3 to 5 days to get delivered and you're not even sure it's going to be the right one? Whereas here, you just walk down the street. Whoa, lizard. He just went down there. I live in a rural area too. It's very hard to walk there in America. But here in Hong Kong, I live right there in that building right there. I'm 10 to 15 minutes from hundreds, literally hundreds of restaurants. Though I seem to eat at the same 4 every week. 4 or 5. So, noodles today, I think. It is a very beautiful place. That's why I've stayed here so long. But it's very, very expensive to live here. Very expensive. If you want to live like an upper middle class American or so, it's going to cost you a lot more. I mean, I pay $14 for a gallon of milk. 14 US dollars for a gallon of milk. You live in Southern Maryland. Hey, I know that area. I have a house in Calvert County. Yeah, believe it or not. I actually keep a place in Maryland when I go back. I'll be in Chesapeake Beach later this month, back at my house. I have to kick my house sitter out, though. Well, Cheerios cost $9, $10 US a gallon. There are actually wild cows, feral cattle that escaped from a dairy. The dairy's closed now and nobody really cares about picking up the cows anymore. So the cows just walk around like big unemployed whales and cause traffic accidents. Yeah, people run into the cows every now and then while driving. But there's no fresh milk, no dairy here in Hong Kong anymore. There are dairies in China, but we don't really trust the Chinese agriculture. Most of the milk we drink is imported from the US or Australia. Not a place to retire unless you're loaded with cash. But a lot of people retire in Thailand. It's a lot cheaper to retire over there. Medical care is very good. Medical tourism in Thailand is very big business. So let's walk down this mountain. What do you say? Oops. Oof. Not a lot of New Zealand milk. New Zealand's a bit farther away from Australia. The supply chain doesn't work as well. Yeah, the cows are wandering around on the street and people run into them. We have pythons, which gets pretty big here. It was actually funny in my YouTube video when my son went to a soccer tournament in Thailand. They had to remove like an 8-foot snake off the football pitch. That was a bit weird. You're on Barker Road now, B-A-R-K-E-R Road, here in Hong Kong, on the peak Hong Kong. Yesterday's weather was quite different. Yesterday I basically stood inside. Yesterday I walked a grand total of 1,900 steps. Pretty much a record low since I put the Fitbit on. 1,938 steps or something like that. So we're definitely going to go for a good 20,000 a day, maybe a little more. I think we'll walk all day and we might hit the treadmill later this afternoon just to keep the step count decent. We had heavy rain yesterday. what we actually call black rain. Black rain stops all the ferries, closes the schools. Afternoon schools, kindergartens were closed yesterday because of the rain. There was some pretty significant flooding in some parts of Hong Kong. Job is to be a dad. I'm from Hong Kong. I've lived here 7 years. Before that, I lived in the Washington, D.C. area, but I grew up in Illinois, so I have that Midwestern accent. Why do I walk so much? To lose weight. I lost over 60 pounds through diet and exercise. My exercise being this walk. So this is how I stay fit. Also gives us a chance just to get out and see the city and listen to myself. Biggest difference between people in Hong Kong and the U.S. I often talk about the lack of empathy in Asian cultures versus the U.S. Empathy is the concept, not sympathy, empathy. Empathy is the concept of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. When you live in a land of 1.3 billion people, putting yourself in someone else's shoes is just almost impractical given the scale of things. In the U.S., people are more empathetic and they say, oh, I don't want to do that because if someone did that to me, I wouldn't really like it. So you have a sort of self-regulating behavior. Whereas here, empathy isn't as big a deal and people aren't as concerned with how they're viewed by others. They're concerned mostly how they're viewed by their own inner circle. So people do things that's in their best interest, which may not be in the best interest of you, such as, oh, looking for their wallet when they get to the top of an escalator. It's like, well, you know, guy, we're all trying to get off the escalator. So that's kind of one of the big cultural differences. It's interesting, though, it doesn't apply to everything, for example. When it comes to being sick. People if you have a sniffle or a cough and go to work, you are expected to wear a mask. The reason you wear a mask is not to spread the germs to other people in your office. It's considered incredibly rude to be in the office sniffling or coughing. And so in the interest of, well, public health, people wear masks, which is interesting because that's something that's somewhat empathetic towards others. So it's not really a perfect observation, but it is one. All right, I bored you guys to death. Let's talk about celebrities. Yeah, it does sound like common sense. It's not practiced in the U.S. Wow, look at all the leaves that are stuffed into these grates. The picture's not clean. I don't know why. Maybe you've got a bad connection. This is from the rain yesterday. So much stuff is backed up into the grates here. Ooh. What color should we get the car? How about metallic P? This is a family truckster in metallic P. It's the Griswolds. Wasn't so good on the peak. Not sure why. That's the peak, by the way. Yeah, we did have black rain yesterday. Hey, here comes the tram. You guys can just see it. There it is. Video quality is low. It comes back and forth sometimes. Remember, it's not just my quality, it's yours too, your connection. I'm actually got a pretty good connection, but it might be slowing down right now. This is the Smart Tone stop motion. Bummer. We drive on the right. We drive British style. What do you drive on the left in the U.S.? You're on the tram a few days ago. Cool. So we drive on the left, our steering wheel's on the right. So the opposite of the United States, and actually the opposite of China. China drives like the United States. Got all your bars. If you actually go to my YouTube channel, Penguin6, and look at my tech tip videos, I show you a way to hack your iPhone so you don't have bars, but you have an actual numerical indicator of the true signal strength. So for example, right now, I'm a negative 89, which is a pretty good signal. Hey, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand, Australia, Japan also drive British style. Been a big problem in New Zealand with a lot of Chinese tourists coming to New Zealand and driving on the wrong side of the road and causing accidents. Cow has it on the left, yeah. Interesting, the bridges that cross over between the borders between Hong Kong and China have these big switcheroos where you switch from one side of the road to the other. Don't have an iPhone, oh well. So this is Jack Ma's house. This is the house owned by the richest man in Asia. Last time I looked, he was worth 31 billion US, but I think he's gained a bit. He bought this house for 193 million US dollars. 193 million American dollars. And that's just a portion, just petty change to his wealth. He hasn't even lived here. He bought it over a year and a half ago, and he is renovating it now. He just started renovating it about a month ago. Has a beautiful garden and a great view. So this is the view that 193 million American dollars gets you. Gallon of gas is $8 US. Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba.com, one of the largest internet sites in the world and most profitable. Also runs AliExpress, which is a one-off site. AliExpress is pretty cool. Guys, download the AliExpress app, A-L-I Express, and then hit the little camera button at the top and take a picture of your shoes or your purse or your necklace or your watch or your glasses or whatever, and it will scan the database of Alibaba's factory suppliers and find you that exact same thing direct from the factory. It's really quite cool. He doesn't come to Hong Kong. He does. He's got another place. He's got like a $20 million apartment over there. I haven't seen him. Some people are losing me. Bummer. I'm not lost. Gallon of gas is $8 a gallon, but cars are incredibly expensive because you have to pay a luxury tax on cars, basically. My annual registration is about $1,000 US per year to have a car. Gas is, like I said, $8 a gallon. Internet is not restricted here in Hong Kong. Alibaba Jack Ma, that's correct. That was his house. We're outside the Great Firewall of China. That said, you'd be surprised how many websites are geo-restricted that don't allow visitors from, say, Hong Kong because they just think we're all criminals or whatever. So this house here is 100 million US, and this one here is 70 million US. But if you don't have that, you can just rent. Like, rent is 65,000 US dollars a month. 65,000 US per month. I don't think I made that in my first job per year. California, San Francisco's getting pricey, but I haven't seen 65,000 a month yet. 6,500 maybe in Palo Alto. See you next time. Yeah, we don't drive very much here. Not that many places to drive, for that matter. My car is 10 years old and has, I think it's going to hit 100,000 kilometers soon, which is what, 50,000 miles? No, I think they jimmied the odometer. Minimum wage is about $4 or $5 US dollars, about $4 US an hour. Like I said, I pay $10 for a box of Cheerios and $14 for a gallon of milk. But the locals eat a lot cheaper than I do. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to Barker Road, and now we're going to head down the Central Green Trail, also known as Chatham Path. So this is in Hong Kong. So if you guys Google up Chatham Path or Barker Road, Central Green Trail in Hong Kong, you'll know where I am on the Google map. This begins the big curly downhill. There are 10 switchbacks, this being number 1. Most played recreational sport is probably badminton or basketball or soccer or table tennis. Cars cost the same here, but the tax on luxury vehicles is 115% of the market value. So a $100,000 Mercedes will cost you $115,000 in tax. Pretty crazy. The iPhone is basically the same price here. You can see me on satellite. Hello! No, we don't listen to much of anything over here. The English language radio stations are basically British style radio stations, which means 1 minute you'll hear My Sharona by the Knack, and the next minute you'll hear Uptown Funk, and then you'll hear Tupac, and then you'll hear Reba McEntire. I mean, it's so randomly mixed up. It's pretty bizarre. That's just sort of how some of the British radio stations sort of play. They'll have a weird playlist. And then we have a couple other radio stations which I call the B-side classics. They're basically songs by bands songs you've never heard of from famous bands. They're like, oh, that was Aerosmith. And I'm like, that was Aerosmith? We also get the BBC World Service broadcast in AM, but most of the other channels are in Chinese, playing Chinese music. I don't really listen to Canto Pop or K-pop. Radio, I occasionally listen to BBC One over the internet. My wife does exist. She's probably still sleeping. It's at 9:30. She's up. I had the nanny wake her up at 9, or told the nanny to wake her up at 9, and then she's going to go into the office. It's interesting, they do have some shows, like they have like Filipino Hour where they play all Filipino music. They have Rap Hour, they have Hard Rock Hour, they have Clubbing Hour Saturday nights from say 6 to 9. It's all club music. And let's just get everybody ready to go out and party, because this is a huge party city. Definitely a city for single people with a lot of money. Pretty crazy scene. P7, the wife is gone to work. I don't know. No, she usually goes in about 10. My wife works like 10 to 6, 10 to 7. But then she comes home and then she takes care of other things. Because she works internationally, the phone can ring at like 11 o'clock at night sometimes. So, as long as she gets her work done, they're not really clock watchers. I hate clock watchers. I worked in an office that was a clock watcher, and they were like fanatic about showing up exactly at 9 o'clock, and I was like, fine, then I will leave exactly at 6 o'clock. And after 2 weeks of me I just walked out at 6 o'clock. I mean, right in the middle of a phone call. I said, listen, I gotta go, bye, click. And that policy was relaxed after I demonstrated the silliness of it. There's a famous picture that went around the internet here in Hong Kong. Some company said, our office hours are 9:30, not 9:45, not 10 o'clock, but 9:30. Said our office opens at 9:30. And they taped that up on the Xerox machine. And then the staff went up and said, the office closes at 6, not 10, not midnight, not 2 a.m. Sort of a way of saying, go stuff it. You know, we work late every night. And the law firm in question got a lot of flack for being such jerks. What time is it in New York City? Plus 12 hours from New York, so it's 9:27 right now in the morning on a Thursday. Your winning lottery numbers for Wednesday are... Oh, it's a secret. We're not supposed to tell you guys. Sorry. Got to finance that Chinese economic miracle. Yeah, it's about 9:30 here. So we're making our way down Central Green Trail. Next stop, May Road, which is where I live. I've lost track of how many turns we've had. Whoa! Lots of water coming down the mountain still. We're actually kind of in landslide warnings around here. We've had some landslides. Yeah, you got to figure out a way to finance your trip to Hong Kong. Win the lottery. So we're halfway rock, we're halfway down the mountain. So as soon as I get home, I'm editing up a video blog from the last 2 or 3 days. That'll be going up on my YouTube channel, Penguin 6, and then we'll go to lunch and continue filming today's video blog. Halfway between Barker Road and May Road. When I'm climbing up, it's sort of a mental thing. Okay, we're at halfway rock. So you saw that woman going up. She was pretty tired. But she's halfway there. It's Father's Day in your country. Cool. I think Father's Day for us is June or something. She was still squeaking. So I had a return to home incident with the drone today. That was kind of interesting. The drone lost connection. I mean, totally lost connection. And then suddenly it just said, I'm coming back. And the drone went on its emergency return. The air quality is pretty good today because we had that big rain yesterday. It sort of washed the air clean. Generally in the summer it's not that bad. In the winter it can be worse because the air comes down from China. It gets a little gross. There's the street sweepers cleaning up the storm damage. Not as much as Beijing. Our pollution is considerably less than Beijing. It's more than, say, Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City and Pittsburgh are the 2 worst cities in the United States for air pollution. And our air pollution is a little bit worse than those. But Beijing is quite a bit worse. I don't know what features we're going to get in the new drone update. Do I worry about breathing in fuel particulates? Well, of course, yes, I worry about my air all the time, but there's not as many cars here. There are air canyons down in the center of the city where the air gets trapped, but like right here, for example, there's no cars. The roads I live on up here, there's not a lot of cars. So, the interesting thing is the cars here are generally later models, higher efficiency, Euro 4 and whatnot, like the buses are Euro 4, Euro 5 standard buses. Though there still are some things. All the taxis are LPG, propane. A lot of our pollution comes from China. I mean, we have roadside pollution, don't be wrong, but a lot of our big pollution is factories in China. So this is number 1, Chatham Path for rent, $33,000 US a month, $33,000 US dollars per month, 6 bedrooms. Hong Kong is, well, there are hints of England throughout. It's like a giant Chinatown. Hong Kong is like a giant Chinatown in New York or England for that matter. I mean, you walk the streets, you pass Queen Victoria, you see King George VI. We have roads named Upper Albert and Lower Albert Road and all the governors and whatnot. The court is on Old Bailey Street. Yeah, there's an Old Bailey Street here in Hong Kong. We have an area known as Admiralty on Arsenal Street and the Magazine Gap and the Ice House Street. So there are certain hints back to the colonial days that still exist here in Hong Kong. I'm from the United States. I was born in Massachusetts, actually. Yeah, we drive on the other side, but culturally we're very much more, I think culturally we're more tuned to England. A lot of people here go to England for prep. A lot of the elites and the wealthy will send their children to England for prep school or even university, more so than, say, the United States. A lot of them will go over. to England. Culturally, our laws are based on, common law of England, so our legal system is very similar to England. Yes, they wear wigs in the court. They have barristers and solicitors. Judges come from England and other Commonwealth countries, handle our judiciary. So, we speak with the British vernacular, football, lift, flat, stuff like that. I just came down from Victoria's Peak. We're on the Central Green Trail, which connects Barker Road and May Road, so we're going to actually see the Peak Tram in a moment. We're now in the mid-levels. This is where I live, midway down the peak, or midway up, depending on how you look at it. My children have a slight British accent, a slight British lilt, especially when they talk about football. Most of their football commentary comes from British speakers. A barrister is one who represents you in court. A solicitor is one who does your legal work. Barristers are like litigators, basically. And there's different requirements for each. I told the story yesterday or 2 days ago when I actually went to the Inns of Court in England and had dinner with the barristers. You have to have so many dinners per year at the Inns of Court to keep your barrister status and keep in whatever temple or house you're in. And it was hilarious because I was sitting across from a bunch of young British lawyers or barristers in training. And the first question they asked when they discovered I was an American was, "So is Baywatch real?" I was like, yes it is. Every beach in America is just like Baywatch. Hey, Dish Doctor, how you doing? I had to wear a robe if I remember properly. I think I did have to wear a dinner robe when I had dinner there. They also mocked us for pronouncing Notre Dame as Notre Dame. I explained to them the history of the Irish versus the French in the Catholic Church and how the Notre Dame was sort of taken as a way to get around the French pronunciation. And it's also kind of a way to differentiate between Notre Dame, which is in Paris, and Notre Dame, which is in Indiana. That's my shuttle bus, and that is a 14-car garage for someone who has way too many cars. What do we got there? BMW, Mercedes, and beat-up truck. And then another BMW. This is the Noah. No, that's a Toyota. No, it's a Nissan Sentra. I actually like I like that minivan. It's kind of small. I thought about getting that one, but I didn't. I got a bigger one because it was cheaper. Mr. Taxi. I should have watched it. Why that show? Why did they ask about that show? Because they were young male barristers and they were fascinated by American blondes. Do you remember that time when Madonna kissed Britney Spears at the MTV Video Music Awards? That set England on fire. I mean, I think they still sell posters of that picture of Madonna kissing Britney Spears. Yeah, I think we're going to have wonton noodles. That was the most famous picture in English tabloid history. It was their front page. That whole... Or Asian. The barristers, some of them were Indian, yeah. Girl has a skirt and is riding a motorcycle. I think we'll probably have wonton noodles today. I'm not sure, but it's pretty likely. Probably not Mox. I think the first order of business is to deal with these mosquito bites. Yeah, no one remembered that one. That was back when she was kissing everyone and shaving her hair. I'm still shocked nobody did a drug test of her hair. I guess she's kind of normal now, yeah? Britney Spears, she's not doing too many weird things. No, we had gourmet McDonald's last week. I think we're done for gourmet McDonald's for about a month. I can only eat so many of them. It's just too delicious. We'll have one more before we go to the United States, maybe. But we're going to be in the land of Five Guys pretty soon. 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today, I'm on a plane to America. She's a mess on meds now. Isn't her sister is kind of messed up? Her sister is like younger than her and has a kid who's probably in college now. She's medicated? I just haven't seen her in the tabloids doing anything particularly bizarre. Oh, we're almost home. You can hear the cockatoos screeching. Yesterday, this was underwater. This area right here had flooded and was underwater. She had a sister who was kind of a Disney star, and then like she got pregnant at age 16 or something like that. Her daughter was an ATV accident. She's doing shows in Vegas. Very Elvis of her. I'll be in Vegas. I'll be in Vegas in about a month or two. For a night, probably, maybe. Viva Las Vegas. I think I'll take my kids to the Pirates of the Caribbean thing. Oh, that's kind of a racing stripe Audi. Yeah, I love it. Wasn't that girl, Ariana Grande, was a Nickelodeon star? Anyway, so guys, we're over here now. We're home. Doors open today.